Isaiah chapter 40. I'm going to start reading at verse 28. Isaiah chapter 40, starting in verse 28. Have ye not known? Have ye not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and he gives to him who has no might, he increases strength. Even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. But those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not grow weary. They shall walk and not faint. Have you ever grown weary in your life? I've been weary many times. Played in a softball tournament when I was 30 years old. I gave up softball when I was 30. After I ended up in the hospital for the second year in a row because when I played softball. And I played it hard. I decided at that time it was time to give up play and it was time to start coaching. And I started coaching my sons, Tony and Matt, in their baseball. But we were playing this one tournament. We had played a number of games on Friday, and it started early Saturday morning. And I was tired. I was weary. I was about to faint. And I got up to bat. And I said, this is it. I've never done this before. I've always given 100%. I'm going to make an out. And Mike, I waited for that pitch to come in. And I knew just where I was going to hit it. And how hard I was going to hit it. And I did exactly what I tried to do. And the second baseman missed the ball. And it went to the outfield. And it went between the center fielder and the right fielder. And I rounded first base and I looked to second. I said, yes, I can make it, but I don't want to. But I did anyway. I slid into the base, and when I did, the shortstop missed the ball this time. And so did the third baseman. And I thought, oh my goodness, now I've got to get up and run to third. I got about halfway there. My legs were tired. They were about to give out. And I saw the third baseman get the ball. And I stopped and started back to second base. And before I got to the bag, my legs gave out. The third baseman's throw to the second baseman again was a wild throw. I reached second base. I was laying on the ground. I was hugging the base. And I said, I'm not going anymore. Luckily, the guy up after me made the third out. Have you ever been tired? Have you ever been weary? Do you want to give up? A man from India, a preacher, he converted a family. I believe it was in the northwest part of India. The people in that area didn't like it. It was a small town. The government found out what had happened, sent the military there, got this man's family, got him outside, And the military looked at the man and he said, "You denounce Christianity right now, or we're going to kill your children." He said, "I can't do that." He said, "I've decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back." At that time, both of his children were killed. Military leader looked at the man again. Said, "Denounce Christianity right now, or your wife's going to die." The man said, "I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back." At that point, his wife was killed. Military officer looked at the man. He said, "You have one final chance. If you don't denounce Christianity right now," he said, "you're going to die." The man said, "I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back." His life was taken. But the story goes on. Because of this man's dedication, because of his standing up for what was right, every member of that town wanted to know more about this Jesus. And so did all of the army officers that were there. And because of this, thank you, Horace. Because of all of this dedication to God, song number 272 in our songbook was written. I want to read it to you. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. Though none go with me, I still will follow. Though none go with me, I still will follow. Though none go with me, I still will follow. No turning back. No turning back. Verse 3. My cross I'll carry till I see Jesus. My cross I'll carry till I see Jesus. My cross I'll carry till I see Jesus. No turning back. I'll follow him. Interesting how we got that song, isn't it? How weary could that man have been when he saw his family lined up by the military, and his two children shot and killed, his wife shot and killed. What would that have done to you? It would have devastated me. But he stood firm. And even when it was his own life, he stood firm. How many of us have decided to follow Jesus? And how many of us were true, or will be true, to the commitment that we made that I'll follow Jesus? No turning back. No turning back. No matter how weary we become, no turning back. No turning back. You know, it's a lot easier to give up than it is to keep going, isn't it? But Satan keeps on throwing things at us. Satan keeps on tempting us in ways, just give up, life will be easier. Yes, my life might be easier here upon this earth if I were to give up. But what will it be like for eternity? The short time that I'm here upon this earth compared to the eternity of heaven. How long that'll be. As a parent, we grow weary, don't we? At work, we grow weary, don't we? And in doing the Lord's work, we grow weary. Did Jesus grow weary? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. In the book of Matthew, chapter 4, starting verse 35 and going through 41, Jesus had finished preaching. He went into a boat. And he was so tired, he went down below deck and he fell asleep. And a storm came up. That boat was rocking and rocking and rocking, going up and down this way and that way. Those that were on the boat with him went down and woke him up and said, "Don't you care that we're perishing?" Jesus got up, stretched forth his arms, and said, "Peace, be still." And we know that the storm ceased. And the boat was once again on still waters. Jesus was so weary, he was sleeping through that. And he could have said, "Leave me alone." But he didn't. He got up. And he created that miracle of calming the sea. Jesus was tired, but he continued to do good works. Sometimes we get tired, don't we? Sometimes we get tired. Sometimes we think maybe we're the only ones, but we're not. We're not. We all get tired. We all grow weary. What must we do not to grow weary? The book of Hebrews was written to a weary group of people. They'd been persecuted. Many of them had left their homes and they were scattered abroad. And they were weary. The author said it was written to unknown recipients. They'd gathered together from all over. They had been persecuted. They were a group that was weary. And so if we go to the book of Hebrews and we look at some weary people and see the advice that they were given, can we not learn how to not grow weary? Number one, about weary people. We are weary people. What can be done? In Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 1 it says, "Give a more earnest heed." Look at what needs to be done. Look at it earnestly and do better. Well, wait a second, I'm weary. I'm weary. And that's why we give that earnest heed. Jesus was weary, wasn't he? Jesus was weary as he was beaten and as he carried his cross up that hill. But he did it. He did it for us. You know, he was so weary that he needed help. Sometimes we need help too, don't we? Sometimes we need help. Hebrews chapter 3 verse 12 tells us to beware. To beware. Are we people that look at our surroundings and are aware of what's all around us? I don't know how I got it on my Facebook page, but I got pictures of all sorts of snakes coming up on it. And people want to know what kind they are. And people making comments, that one was so camouflaged, I almost stepped on it. I'm getting to the point I'm looking down. Where am I about to step? What am I about to step on? We need to beware, don't we? As Christians. As weary people, we need to beware of what we have in our surroundings. In Hebrews chapter 5, verses 11 through 14, we must realize that we're weary and do something about it. Change our mind. Change our mind about what we're really doing. The students just finished a semester. Throughout the semester, they were growing weary. And coming down to the end of it, they knew that they were having finals. They had projects to do. And they were saying, I just don't want to do it. I'm too tired. I've been working too hard. But what did they do? They kept on going. And as Christians, that was what we need to do too. Just keep on going. Do something about it. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. As a Christian, that light is death. And if we have overcome our weariness, striving to do what was right, we have a home in heaven when we leave this world. Through this weariness, sometimes we need to be encouraged. I need to be encouraged as a preacher. You need to be encouraged as a Christian. I need to be encouraged as a preacher and a Christian. We need to pat each other on the back. We can always look at the negative side, can't we? We need to be positive, encouraging, knowing that one day this is going to be over with. We're going to be spending eternity in heaven with God. That's what I try to do with the students, to encourage them as the semester goes on. To encourage them that when you get out, it may take a little while, but there's a job waiting for you. If you're just patient, you're just patient. Yes, I know you're growing weary, but just be patient. God has a plan. In Hebrews chapter 4, verses 1 through 13, the promised rest that Israel was given over the years for their land. And they had to be patient. They had to be patient until the timing was God's timing. And they received that promise, didn't they? When Joshua led them into that land that truly was a land of milk and honey. And heaven is that way to you and I today. Jesus knows our troubles. We need to realize that He does. You see, Jesus walked upon this earth just like you and I do. He felt the same way that you and I felt, as we talked about before. He was in the boat, he was tired, wasn't he? He said in Matthew chapter 8, verse 20, foxes have holes and birds of the air have their nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Many times Jesus used a rock as a pillow, sleeping outside under the sun, under the moon, because he was tired and had no other place to go. He knows what it's like to be weary. Hebrews chapter 4, verses 14 through 16. He knows everything that we go through. He is tempted in all ways like you and I, but yet he was without sin. In Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 36, they were told they must endure. And today you and I must endure the world too. The world don't like God, do they? The world don't like to be told what to do. The world gets jealous of you and I because they see our lives when we're Christians. When we stand up for God. Those people in India that watched that man's 2 children be killed, and his wife and even himself. They said that man has something. We want to know more about this Jesus. And you know what? The world's going to want to know more about Jesus when they see Jesus in your life and my life. When they see who we're dedicated to and what we're willing to do for God and willing to do for Jesus. But they who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. You and I today must not grow weary in doing the work of the Lord. As Paul told the church in Galatians chapter 6 and verse 9. There's many hurdles that we'll have to jump over in our life. Sometimes we're going to trip and fall. Sometimes we're going to clear those hurdles. But one thing we mustn't do, we mustn't give up. We mustn't give up. We must mount up with wings like eagles to fly over those obstacles that come our way and not faint in doing the good work of the Lord. We always want to offer an invitation when we come together. We're going to do so at this time. If anyone needs to respond, do so as we stand and as we sing.